Sony has not commented on this yet, but some users have noticed that the games they purchased now have a death timer that slowly counts down from 30 days to 0. That's 30 days during which your license for the game remains valid in offline mode. You paid full price for it and it's single player? Not our problem, it's not your game after all. If you don't connect to the internet to renew the license, you won't be able to play it. This topic has exploded online in recent days, so we're going to take a closer look at what's actually going on and whether this is the end of online gaming on PlayStation consoles. Let's get into it. Being a gamer is probably the most difficult hobby in pop culture. Even if you buy a movie or music digitally and it disappears for some reason, it still doesn't compare to modern AAA games that often cost around $60–80. That's not a small amount of money, and it comes with 100 different caveats. Because the publisher can shut down servers at any moment, disable DRM, revoke access to the account tied to the game, or in extreme cases brick the entire system, as infamously done by the worst company in the world, Nintendo. They have no real interest in you owning anything, to the point where GTA 4 wasn't available anywhere for a while because it relied on games for Windows Live, which got shut down. I think that was the first time that I realized that a game can really just disappear and there's nothing you can do about it. PlayStation users got a taste of this firsthand. After a recent system update in March, people started noticing something strange. If the purchase was made on PlayStation 4, a kind of expiration timer began appearing in the product information, showing how much time was left. Once that time runs out, if you're not connected to the internet, you won't be able to launch the game until you reconnect and the system renews your license for another 30 days. And this isn't about multiplayer games, well, at least not only about them. You can lock even fully online titles this way, games that technically should be playable forever without internet connection. The issue was first spotted by Lance McDonald, the guy who among other things created a 60 FPS patch for Bloodborne and then got hit with a lawsuit from Sony forcing him to remove it. How charming. Anyway, the issue doesn't only affect PS4. The PlayStation 5 has the exact same problem, it's just not shown directly to the users there. So basically it's a softer version of the Nuvo, which requires a constant internet connection, while here you're granted a generous 30 days. As I mentioned earlier, there is still no official statement from Sony, but we do have information from a supposedly anonymous insider who said that the Sony DRM issue is unintentional. From what we gathered, Sony accidentally broke something while fixing an exploit. They've known about the confusing UI for a while, but didn't see it as urgent, hoping for a clarifying statement now. That kind of message could calm the situation down, but Sony isn't exactly at the peak of player trust right now. It's been known for some time that they are planning to step back from porting games to PC. Apparently it's not as profitable as they expected, or maybe they want their games to be more exclusive. Maybe they'll follow Nintendo's example and start suing Oh, wait. Recently, Sony was also involved in a controversy over offering customers dynamic pricing. And to be clear, this isn't about giving loyal customers discounts, it's about charging higher prices to people who frequently buy from their store. It's like you walk into your favorite pizza place and they tell you that since you're a loyal customer, you'll pay $3 more. Perfect form of a loyalty program called screwing over the suckers. That's exactly why there is not much goodwill left for Sony among players. 10 years ago, I would have said this is definitely a bug, a poor developer pressed the wrong key or something. But people seem to not notice that the whole drama shows us one thing: the system is already there. It's been built and is ready to be deployed. Randy Pitchford can say truth by accident, not a DRM system getting implemented. If in the coming days Sony actually issues an apology and even rolls back this system, it will only mean one thing: they are apologizing because players noticed. To me, this looks more like testing the waters, you know, seeing how much they can get away with without pushback from players. And that pushback is the key. In 2013, Microsoft announced that their console would need to connect to the internet every 24 hours. If it didn't, you'd lose access to your games regardless of whether they were single player or multiplayer. multiplayer. Games were also supposed to be tied to accounts, so they couldn't be easily resolved. Players responded with massive and well-deserved backlash toward Xbox, and even Sony joined in, promoting their console as free from mandatory online checks and allowing normal game ownership. Back then, players managed to unite, and we avoided a major anti-consumer disaster. Until now. With Nintendo, things work a bit differently. A console set as primary works offline almost all the time, while a secondary console requires an online connection to verify licenses for digitally purchased games. Nintendo Switch Online requires periodic checks too, but that only applies to the subscription, not regular purchases. When Nintendo is more consumer friendly than you in some aspect, you know you've messed up. I also have to mention a few misunderstandings that came up after this information first leaked. You know, things worth clearing up. A quick myth-busting section. But before we get to that, do you know what will never be blocked by DRM? This channel. My videos can still be watched even after 31 days of inactivity on the channel, so today for once you don't have to subscribe. Thanks a lot for support, back to the topic. First, some people misunderstood this as if after those 30 days, games would be removed from your library and you'd have to buy them again. I know that Ubisoft is already drooling thinking of that, but that's obviously not true. Anyone who came up with such a system would commit PR harakiri. No, once you reconnect to the internet, access is restored and you can play again. Second, many people following that mysterious insider claim that this is just an UI bug that doesn't affect games at all, and after that 30 days the timer simply resets. The author of the original video decided to test it by removing and reinserting the CMOS battery, which reset the console clock and as a result locked all games purchased after the update, requiring connection to the internet to launch them again. Games bought earlier worked just fine. According to the creator of that video, it also doesn't matter whether you're using a primary or secondary console. The countdown works the same in both cases. I guarantee you, every move like this, no matter how accidental it's called, is always testing the waters. Stop Killing Games is trying to push the industry in a better direction, while every major company is trying to take 2 steps back. Player feedback gets thrown in the trash, expectations flush down the toilet, and we're left slowly suffocating in the fumes of our overworked PCs. Because for them it doesn't matter that every player takes a performance hit when playing a game with Denuvo. What matters is blocking the laziest hackers. Because even Denuvo gets cracked now, as proven with Resident Evil Requiem. Offline activation exists, workarounds exist, and it turns out that someone who didn't spend a single dollar will have a better experience than you, after paying $70 for a game weighted down by Denuvo. We've reached the point where the biggest hope lies with indie developers, because they actually listen to players and understand that fans are your allies, not your enemies. I wonder how much Hollow Knight Silksong developers complain about hackers. How does that game manage without Denuvo? Incredible. Or let's take a recently released game that combines Black Flag, Valheim and Sea of Thieves. The game is called Windrose and was originally meant to be an MMO, but after player feedback the developers decided to release it as single player game. And as we can see, that was a great move, most players are happy, the devs are celebrating, and the game is ridiculously cheap. I'll probably have to play it sometime in the future. I don't know what Sony has been doing lately, but for years I envied PlayStation owners. First the PlayStation 3, then PlayStation 4. And when I finally started earning money and working, I bought myself a PS5. Unfortunately, that was also when PlayStation started shifting toward live service games and my console began collecting dust. Literally, in 2025, the only noteworthy PlayStation exclusive was Kojima's walking simulator with a baby and Ghost of Tsushima with a woman. I don't know what's ahead for Sony, but if they keep going in this direction, nothing good will come out of it. I'm curious if any of you have experienced this DRM issue. I haven't seen these cases in my country. The closest example was from Germany. So please let me know what you think about this whole situation in the comments. Do you still trust Sony? What would they have to do to break your trust? As always, the comments are yours and the likes are mine, so leave a thumbs up and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, bye bye.